Yeah, g'day hikers. I thought I would just give a quick overview on the essential kit you're going to need for the South Coast track. We did it over 9 days, me and two mates. This is for people who haven't done it before and they might be sort of wondering what they should be taking. I'm not going to tell you to suck eggs, so I'm not going to go through a whole list of stuff you need for your backpack, but this is just stuff I think you need specifically for this hike. First off is thermals. Tasmania, like it can be warm in the morning and snowing, by nightfall, and that's without an exaggeration. So you're going to need your thermals, preferably old merino, just because of the quick drying capability, and it doesn't stink so much. But the others are going to do, and a beanie and gloves, because it gets bloody cold at times. We were lucky, but it can get cold. Wet weather gear. We copped massive torrential rain and hail going up the Ironlow mountain and down again for that whole day. I've never bought wet weather pants before. I did for this track, and I was so grateful. I also bought a new triple Pertex jacket and gaiters and waterproof gloves, over gloves for my gloves, and I was so glad I did, because it was hard work, but we were cold, and we were getting smashed the entire way. And I was glad to, even with all the hard work, I was glad to get to campsite that night after 10 hours worth of walking, 9-10 hours worth of walking, and still be reasonably dry. Look, the footwear, a lot of people say you need boots for this. I did it in a pair of La Sportiva trail runners, because I don't like boots, and they work just fine. Yeah, your feet get wet. They might get a little chilly. I wouldn't do it in the winter with trail runners, but during the summer months, yeah, I think it's just fine. And then, I mean, we hit lots of mud, lots of water, just like all the rest of the campers. And a lot of people had trail runners. Not a lot. I mean, most had boots. I'd say 20% of the people doing it had trail runners. So in that respect, it was fine as well. Poles, definitely get quality poles. These are leaky McCarley's. Piece of shit. They're crap. I had multiple pole failures the day before the Ironbound, then during the Ironbound, trying to sit down in the rain with shaking hands, getting hypothermic because my poles had either come apart or they compressed and they wouldn't work, and they were too short, and not happy with them at all. I'm going to go buy new poles. These are alloy poles, and yeah, leaky. A good pole. I like the strap system. I like the handles, but the pole themselves, yeah, crap. Now, this is a big one. We didn't think of this. We wish we did tide charts. If you get a tide chart for the time you're planning to go, maybe take a photo on your phone or even some paper. You need outgoing tides to avoid brackish water if you're going to get water from the lagoons or the rivulets, and then low tides for the crossings, the saltwater crossings, and the boat crossing. If you can figure out, when the water's lowest to cross at the right time, but also when it's outgoing tide, you're not going to be stuck with brackish water when you get to camp. Surprise Bay's one in particular. Prion was another, although we should have bought water for that one. Power bank for the phone. Even though mine was on plane mode and only using it for photos, over 9 days the power does go. It goes without saying, really. Personal locator beacon, pretty important. Waterproofing. Look, I a lot of people, it's controversial, but I took a waterproof bag for the pack, sleeping bag, and the clothes, and as a result, I had reasonably dry clothes every night. My sleeping bag, the pack liner did fail. My down bag stayed nice and dry, and my thermals that night, because it was a freezing night, were nice and dry. So, yeah, a little bit extra weight, I recommend it. Look, water carriage. I have a 2.5 litre bladder, but I also had a 3 litre water bladder for water collection. It was a cat dome with a filter on it anyway. But there's lots of camps, like before Prion, there was a beautiful stream coming down. We didn't think of getting water, but we did it for other camps. So on the way, another one of my mates, he had a 3 litre, and my other mate had a 2 litre. You can fill up with fresh water, cart that with your drinking water to camp, and then you've got enough clean water, when you do cross the stream on the way, rather than searching for brackish water or putting up with not enough water and searching for it, all the rest of it. You arrive at camp, you've carried a bit of extra kilos, but you got all the water you need till the next morning when you take off again. Look, enough food. I don't know how people ended up. If you plan to go for 8 days, especially on the South Coast track, maybe take 9 days food. You can get held up at water crossings. You can get held up with bad weather. Sometimes it snows on the Ironbound and people stay back a day. But I met a lot of campers and they were low on food. We actually gave them extra food because they didn't have enough food. If you're going to go for an extended camping trip, take enough food. It's extra nutrition. Now, for background, John and Monica Chapman's book is like the Bible on this track. John and Monica are very experienced backpackers. He's done a lot of track notes on different walks. Lara Pinter comes to mind, but all around Australia, he's worked for Wild for many years. His books are really accurate. He gives temperatures, he gives times of year, general pack notes, track notes. We did west to east, which is Melaleuca airstrip down to Cockle Bay, but he's done it the other way as well, and he gives notes on those. So that's highly recommended. I think it's only $15. Do yourself a favour and grab that. Just take note with John and Monica. When he writes this book, if he says difficult or strenuous or hard in any of his description, that usually means bloody hard, because the man's a workhorse, and when he says it's hard, it's really hard, it's really steep, and the gradients are tough. But having said that, it's a hot. I'm 55, and so are my two mates, and I'm only average fitness. The three of us, did it. Yeah, there was some days muscles were a bit sore and stuff like that, and we did it over 9 days. But we took some side trips and did some extra. The track's supposed to be between 83 and 85 kilometres, depending on what track notes you read. But my mate tracked it with his GPS watch, and we ended up doing 99 kilometres. But that was over 9 days as well. So it's some days were hard, some days are really easy. We even had almost a rest day. It was only 3 kilometres long, but we thought, we're in Tasmania, we're enjoying the wilderness. We'll draw it out over 9 days. We met a couple other young blokes who did it without poles. Only ones I ever met on the whole track who didn't do it without poles. But they did the whole track in 5 days and just smashed it. Two doctors from Melbourne, and they had limited time, so they just they got stuck in, and they did the Ironbound right up to Preon boat crossing in 1 day. Although they did admit when I was having a chat to them, they were completely smashed by the end of it. Yeah, so that's about it. It's specific to this hike. I'd say that sort of stuff you got to take into account, especially the poles. I found, and the tide charts, probably the most important of all of those, and enough thermals. Anyway, enjoy yourself. I hope you have a good time. See you later. My other video will be an overview of the whole South Coast track. If you're interested, if you're not, I don't care. Not doing this to make money. See you, mate.